Amazing. We're setting up. Hello, everyone. Let me see. I'm setting. I'm gonna be showing my slides in a second. Just waiting for everyone to join to our live stream. Hello, Otto. Hi, Thera. Amazing. Hi, Mickey. Hi, everyone. I'm just setting up, waiting for everyone to join. We're going to be walking over AI automation, property management stuff. It's going to be a great session. Just a moment. All right. We're all set. Casper, hi. Everyone, hi. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching this. We're going to go through some awesome stuff. And also feel free to ask your questions. I'm happy to answer them as we go. Today, we're going to be talking about AI in property management, how AI really helps you to win your time back, how you really can automate lots of things, 60% of your workload with AI. So I want to get started with that. I'm going to go over what we're going to be viewing today. We will take a look at the value of AI. We will see how Magic Door achieves AI excellence. Of course, we have to talk about safety and how to keep AI safe and transparent. We're going to talk about how Magic Door deal with maintenance requests in an agentic way. We'll show you a demo of how AI communicates with your tenants. We will show you how AI handles the coordination between tenants and vendors, which is really important part two. And at the end, if you guys stick to the end, we're going to show you how to reduce 60% of your workload with AI runbooks. Like I said, I invite everyone to jump in and ask questions. I do see them here in the chat, and Sydney will help to bring them into the picture as well. So let's make this interactive. Well, let's talk about what is the goal of AI, right? Modern days, really, we can use AI for so many different things, but I still feel like AI is being misused in a lot of ways. Just trying to replace human from writing an email. Now you can write an email with AI, or fill some forms, or write descriptions for your property listing. That is all very basic use cases that's really not helping you save lots of time. It's not really changing the way how you do things. I feel like the main goal of AI is really to save time and improve tenant experience. Let's talk about saving time first. We know that 70% of rental managers' time is spent on communications. It's really coordinating between tenants and vendors. When you have a maintenance request, something needs to be prepared, and then you have to go back and forth and be the middle manager. It's not really productive. It's not the best way to spend your time, frankly. But it is something you have to do just because there is no real better solution for that. And second waste of time is answering silly lease policy questions. We live in a place where everything is already agreed upon. There is all these questions, all these policies listed in your lease agreement. And we still somehow getting the questions of, hey, when my rent is due? It's like, well, you've been here for 2 years now. You do know it's due on 1st, and late payments will be on the 6th, or late fees will be implemented on the 6th. But somehow, tenants are still asking these things, and we believe you shouldn't be wasting your time answering these silly questions. Another route is sort of when tenants ask, hey, can I have a big wedding in the backyard of this house that I'm renting out? And per your lease agreement, you cannot have more than 5 guests at any time on the property. So you don't have to be the one really replying to those questions and saying no. AI can do that for you, and we're going to show how it's actually doing that for you. Second part is really better tenant experience. We live in a world where people want quicker answers. They don't really like phone calls. They don't want to be constantly hanging on the line trying to figure out what's going on. They want something quick, instant. They want to report a problem, potential issue, and get a response on the fly. They want quick resolutions. That's really all it comes down to. And tenants really want to feel that they are cared for. When you have all those things work together, this is when you have higher retention rate. This is when your properties have low vacancies rates, and you're really staying in better business while also winning your time back. Next, I kind of want to jump into how Magic Door achieves AI excellence. We have this funny meme on the side. It just kind of resonates with us because people just hate conversations and phone calls nowadays. And we do know that most property managers still using phones as their main mean of communication, just because this is the only thing that's really available that gets that straight access, that feeling that you care for until now. And only because there was no real solution till today. We know that there are companies who are automating and making like AI voice experience quite good. In a lot of cases, if you're not paying attention, you won't even notice that you're talking to AI over the phone. But it does get a little awkward when you had a 5-minute conversation, then you realize you've been talking to a machine the whole time. So that being said, with text messages, you don't have that level of confusion, because AI is really good with acting like a human through text messages. It's hard to detect. And frankly, modern generation has that anxiety of phone calls. They do not want to be picking up the phone calls or making phone calls. They would rather text. So that being said, out of the 1,200 property managers that we have at Magic Door, only 5 today are still using phone conversations as their mean of communication with tenants. The rest have switched to texting, and it never got better than this. Today, what really works is Magic Door provides a company with a phone number, dedicated phone line, I can say, not designed to be called, but designed to be texted. It's not a property manager's phone. It's not a dedicated phone that you can just ring anytime you want to. It's really designed to be a dispatch number that you can text anytime, whether you are a tenant, a prospect that wants to rent, or actual tenant, or a vendor, I mean. The way how it works is AI will actually accept your request asking, hey, when my rent is due, or hey, my AC is not working. And then it will process that in ways which I'm going to show you later. And then it's going to be really resonating and working through this issue on the fly with you. In a lot of cases, you won't be, as a property manager, even part of these conversations because AI will be handling most of this stuff. The beautiful thing is that it can be done all with one number. You can just pre-register your vendors, tenants, property managers, and AI will be triggering who it needs to be involving in a situation depending on what is it trying to do. And you are actually winning your time back, because you don't need to be replying to a phone call immediately. Text messages are not expected to be answered quickly. So if it does escalate to becoming an issue that property manager has to be involved, it's okay if you take a few minutes, or it's okay if you answer in a few hours, just because it's not being expected that you have to be involved right away. With a phone call, you don't have that luxury of just relaxing and taking care of the business that you have to take care. You have to dedicate your time and immediate attention to that tenant right now, and therefore it it disrupts your normal workflow. So what we created with Magic Door is quite a revolution that we're quietly talking about, because having that dedicated phone line as a dispatch, and then allowing people not to even needing to download an app or sign onto any platform, they can literally just text and save that phone number as whatever property LLC. And they can reach out with any questions, maintenance requests, and stuff like that directly texting, super easy. Or it can also work as an email as well. What we're seeing is this is breaking the barrier of understanding the product or the technology for elderly generation as well, because they're the ones who are having this fatigue with, oh, I need to now sign up to some platform, go to some website to submit maintenance requests. No, you just can, reach out and say, hey, my toilet's clogged, please help. And AI will be troubleshooting you through the situation. And then if it needs to escalate to an actual maintenance request, that's how it's going to be processed. I want to jump next into safety. It's a big issue. It is something we do have to talk about. You can't really trust AI just yet, but we're getting there. And there are also technologies and ways how you can make this secure and safe. What we do here is, obviously you don't want to be sharing your social securities and IDs and property and emails, all that stuff, with OpenAI or with any other company out there that's providing a service for AI. As soon as you drop that information, it will go into the public server and people might get a hold of it. So it's not safe, it's not allowed. Therefore, all this sensitive information that we have at Magic Door is actually being processed here in our office in Las Vegas. We have our own server that's encrypted, secure, and when AI needs to be touching that information, it goes through a secure channel straight to the server right here, all encrypted and protected so that we can process that information and provide you with the right output. Therefore, it's not a easy science, but the team that we got working on this is very capable and qualified to do this. And we take security very, very seriously at Magic Door. Next, I want to talk about, how do we make AI safe and transparent? And this is where it becomes quite interesting. Modern models, they are basically using judging as their main mean of reasoning. They basically try to understand what is the context and how it can process that context. And most of the companies that are saying or claiming they're using AI, they're using these huge models, large language models that are trying to process all information. They have all the rules, all the all the unique processing right there, all in one big model. Therefore, they tend to hallucinate quite a lot. Typically, if you have 10 conversation or 10 back and forth in a chat, after the 10th one, you have about 5 or 4% chance of hallucination. But if you were to add a few more to it, it increases back to 40% of hallucination. And if you are really trying to work with money, payments, leases, people's sensitive information, that is not the way to go forward, right? So therefore, at Magic Door, we decided to go right away into agentic AI. Agentic AI basically breaks down this massive model into sub models. They're so small and they're trained to do one specific little thing. So later on, I will show you how we do application screening, but that is a good example of how one AI model can take a look at your bank statements and understand what it means and what it actually translates into. Another one can take a look at your background check, another one into your eviction report. Third one will just analyze your specific questions that you answered during your application process. Fifth will understand, how much is the rent for the unit, and then how much are you making money? Is this good enough? And then combined together, they will go into the judging model that will actually work through and understand what needs to happen at this stage. This person should be approved or not approved, what kind of score to give them, taking all the work of this army of agents into consideration and providing you with very reasonable results. So it's quite fascinating. And if it's too technical, please let me know. And also feel free to ask questions in the chat. Happy to dive deeper into anything. Here's a good example of how, how the communication actually happens We want to be transparent. We do not want to be just providing you with a summary of what happened with a tenant. We want you to be able to see everything that is happening with the with communication within the system at Magic Door. The coolest thing is we call it like, you know, driving a Tesla on autopilot while also being able to take over at any moment. Here you can see how AI is really handling the maintenance request, and then you can see how a property manager in like this brighter purple color pops in, and as soon as a property manager pops into the conversation and wants to say something, AI will pause and it will wait for a property manager to be able to have a conversation. If there is no communication back and forth for quite a period of time, this is when AI kicks in again and starts to re-engage the conversation so that the problem can be actually resolved, not just stagnated at some point. Next, I want to walk you through the maintenance request flow. This is a very loaded slide, but I think it's very important. In order to review this, I want to bring your attention to the bottom. You see the other platforms. This is a traditional flow of how maintenance requests are being handled in traditional way. So I'm a tenant and I have a problem, let's say clogged toilet. I have to go to an app, I have to sign up, I have to log in, download whatever the step is, then I have to create maintenance request. Then at some point a notification will come to a property manager and they will have to go and take a look at that maintenance request. They'll have to manually review that maintenance request, understand what's going on, probably go back and forth with the tenant, ask additional questions, then convert it into a work order, and then try to fulfill that work order with a vendor. At that moment, they have to figure out who is available, who can come in. Is this, do they have one toilet or two toilets in the bathroom in their unit? If they have one toilet only and it's been clogged, then probably you have to resolve this issue as soon as possible and get someone before 5 p.m. If you have two, maybe you can wait until later in the day, right? Or they can be using one toilet right now and then another one can be resolved tomorrow. So property manager has to use common sense and really try to find who would be the best vendor. If it's something urgent, maybe they pay premium price for expedited service, or if the situation can wait, then probably they can find someone cheaper and make them wait a little bit. Let me see. I have a little comment here from Andy. Looks great how the maintenance request flow works. Awesome. Thank you, Andy. Well, I'm happy to describe this even deeper into more details. So once the vendor's been selected, then you have to go in between a tenant and the vendor to align with the time and be like, hey, can you come in by 2 p.m.? Or are you available at 2 p.m.? And the tenant will say, no, I actually will be available after 6. And after 6, the vendor is going to be closed and they're not going to be showing up. So they'll try to reschedule for the next day. And it's all between you and the vendor. You have to go back and forth and the tenant and be the middle manager. That is part of that 70% of communication that is just waste of time. But that's the only way to go forward. And then you have to manually communicate with all the vendors after the process as well to submit the invoice, to pay the invoice, and to make sure that the tenant is happy and satisfied with the service as well. Well, on top, you can see how Magic Door actually handles the situation. I want you to bring your attention to this small space over here where it says Magic Door's AI automation flow. You can see that the tenant can simply text or email the number or email that is dedicated to specific property. And they can complain about the clogged toilet. From there, AI will be processing lots of things. And at the end, you as a property manager, you're only going to have to approve the bill. That is it. That's simple. Under the hood, there is a lot more that is actually going on to it. So before you even become a maintenance or work order, the maintenance request has to be processed and try to be resolved with AI. So AI will troubleshoot and guide the user or the tenant through process that potentially could resolve the issue. My favorite examples would be typical, like garbage disposal is not working. And instead of just sending a maintenance guy right away to fix it, AI will try to troubleshoot like, hey, can you look under the sink? There will be a button. You have to click this button, see if you can reset the garbage disposal, if it works. If it doesn't work, go check the breaker, see if the breaker is still on. This is the one that you need to really checking. Click it. Okay, amazing. Does it work? Yes, it works. Maintenance request closed. If it's not, then it's been escalated to the vendor. Once it's escalated to a work order, this is when vendors being looped in, property managers being looped in, and AI creates multiple group chats and figures out who is the right vendor to be involved in the situation. If it's a plumbing issue, then we have a plumber. If it's electrical issue, then we have an electrician who needs to be involved. It's not just the whole team of vendors that you have on site. It's dedicated specialists for a specific problem. It will also pick the best vendor depending on if somebody is, far away, if it's 24/7 situation and it's after hours, or if it is something that's not super urgent, can wait till tomorrow, we can get a vendor that will be cheaper and will arrive in the morning. So this is where agentic AI really kicks in and tries to understand what would be the best solution. And our judging model will really process that information to come up with the best outcomes for you. There is also a lot of things involved into this. I know this slide is super loaded, but I'm happy to break it down further, and feel free to send me any questions on the fly. Next, I want to show you some examples of tenant communication. Here you can see that this is actually like real communication from Casper's portfolio. You can see that there is a maintenance request. There is a broken glass of some sort. AI will check if they have permission to enter, and the tenant confirmed, yes, you have permission to enter the building. It created the work request. And also in the same chat, AI confirmed that they were running out of the renter's insurance, or they confirmed that they received the payment. And everything is happening all in the same chat, and AI is handling multiple conversations at the same time while staying on point. Here's another good example of actually how our translation works, which is super cool. Ruben doesn't speak English. And the coolest thing is when you register a tenant, you can register also a language that they're using. So me as a property manager, I can reach out in pure English, and they will be receiving a message in Spanish. And Ruben can reply in Spanish, which you can also see, and it will be immediately translated into English for me. And AI will show you both English and Spanish version, so there is no confusion, and it's total transparency and clarity of what's going on. This streamlines your conversation communication, makes it super easy. We hear a lot of times from property managers that they have to go use Google Translate, and they have to adapt, and that's just additional tool that you have to add to your toolkit, and that is not the mission of Magic Door. We're definitely striving for combining all the tools all in one place and making super convenient, because right now we have app fatigue, and there's too many apps on our phones and our computers, too many folders and tabs open. So we want to make it all in one solution that actually works. Next, I want to run you through a runbook demo. Let's talk about what is runbook. So super popular in property management to have virtual assistants. But virtual assistants, they are very limited in their training. They can do just a few things. Usually it's just speaking English is already a good enough skill to start doing virtual assisting. And what property managers do, they create runbooks for them, which is a set of rules or instructions of how to handle specific situations. And we use the same principle for AI runbooks to create instructions for AI how to handle any situation. So I'm going to be showing you a demo for pest control in actual one of the units that Casper owns. And the situation here is that they do not handle pest control requests, and they're leaving up to the tenants. So here's an easy instructions and walk through how to actually process these kind of requests. So you go to custom runbooks, you click create custom runbook, and your instructions can be just as simple as this. You can make it as complicated as you want to, or you can make it as simple as you want to. Here we're saying, as per your lease agreement, we do not handle pest control, and it's up to the tenant to really take care of any issues that they potentially can see. Additionally, it's not a must, but if you want to be nice, you can add a specific vendor that you want to go with. You can redirect your tenants to start using or call a specific company that you want them to, just to make their life easier. You don't have to do any of that, but you're in charge of what you really want to do with your own runbooks. So let's finish this demo and see what actually happens. And meanwhile, anyone who wants to ask any questions, by all means, I'm happy to answer. So you can see we created a runbook. And now I want to show you how it looks from tenant side when a tenant tries to actually request. Oh, let's see. So right now we're seeing a tenant portal, and tenant is creating a maintenance request. They're going into, create new maintenance request. There is a roach in my kitchen. Oh my God. And the urgency, absolutely urgent. This is, as always, everything is super urgent, right? So we see the request was created, it was pending. You can go and you can see what's inside the maintenance request, and then you can go into communication. So just a second in, now you have a communication that is actually in Danish, because Casper is Danish and he registered himself as Danish. So it came in speaking to Casper in Danish and really resonating with like, hey, look, we're not handling these kind of requests. Here's a phone number you can be using. And it's in English, translated to Danish for property manager. And it's in Danish, translated into English for the tenant. So in communications tab, you can see all of that happening all in one place, and you can quickly view translation if you want to as well. Super seamless experience here. Next demo, I want to show you how AI handles, for example, broken window. Let me walk you through this. So we're going to create another runbook. Just as easy as previously, we're going to fill out a simple request, like what happens when a tenant reports a broken window. So when a tenant reports a broken window, ask for a picture of the window. We really want to make sure that it's broken, how bad it is broken, how urgent this is, right? We really need to see that. We assigned a default vendor that we think would be the best fit for this kind of requests. Boom, we have it all set. We have description ready. We can see the vendor is being assigned to the specific maintenance request. And now we're going to create a new maintenance request complaining about broken window, right? And in this case, we will not attach a photo right away. We're just going to submit the maintenance request and we will see what happens. So in this case, as soon as we go into communications, AI already answered, can you attach a photo of the broken window? And we're going to upload one over here. So once we upload, of course, it will take a few minutes to process because AI needs to understand what's actually seeing, what's happening, how bad this is. And this information will be taken into account when sending a work order with the vendor. So here you can see it sounds like it's an issue that needs a maintenance from our glass guy. And therefore, now we can see that this maintenance request became a work order. Immediately, there is communication that you can track between the tenant and the property manager. We can see the photo. And we can see that AI runbook's been implemented, and also it's been converted into the work order. Work order has a quick description of what actually happened, what AI is seeing on the photo, and what it thinks needs to happen here. And I believe next we're going to be going into the communications. Yes. So on the communication side, there is multiple chats that are happening at the same time. There is a group chat that is between all the tenants and the vendor to coordinate that time. The piece that I was talking about earlier, where you have to go back and forth between your tenants, is really a waste of time. So now the vendor can go back and forth with the tenant, having that group chat all in one place. I have a question from Casper. How many runbooks can I have? It's a good question because you can have a limited number of runbooks, and you can create as many sets as you need to make your properties self-managed, basically. So feel free to create them. Right now, we just did in 2 minutes, we created 2 run books, and you saw how they actually work in real time. Let's see. Okay, I think we've seen this one already. Now I want to show you what really happens when you have multiple tenants in the same unit and how the conversations are being handled. So when the work order is being created with a vendor and tenants, all tenants are being part of this communication. And we understand how difficult it can be sometimes to figure out what is the best time to enter the property to perform the repairs. Especially if there is multiple people in the building, you might be talking to somebody in the AM when it happened, and then this person has to go to work, and now they're not responding, and now you're not moving anywhere alone. And then you have other tenants who potentially could pitch in or be present during the repair, but they're not part of the conversation. Well, in our case, it's not how it works. Everybody's part of the conversation, so all the other tenants can pick up the conversation at any point and continue moving things along, not making things, being stuck in the point where you're waiting for someone to reply. It's all transparent, all in the same space. It's MMS format, and it works like magic. Next, I want to share some metrics of what we do and how it actually works. Today, this is real data from all the units that we have on the platform. We're proud to say that 45% of all maintenance requests are automated. And in a lot of times, it's super useful to use Magic Door for streamlining and troubleshooting some issues. One of my favorite examples is AC not working, for example. People will complain, hey, look, my AC is not blowing cool air, something is wrong. And then AI will navigate them to check, like, hey, what's the thermostat temperature? What is the temperature in your room? Do you need to, lower your temperature on the thermostat? And people still complain, hey, but nothing is happening. It's not really cooling. Please help. And AI will just ask, can you check if your thermostat is set to cool or heat? And people will be like, wow, oh my God, it is set to heat. I switched to cool. Now everything's working. Thanks. So it really manages a lot of these silly maintenance requests that you don't need to be part of, and it can be resolved without your involvement. 55% of tenant communication is automated as well. A lot of silly questions that are being asked, lease policies and so on and so forth. Already today, 55% of all communication on the platform is resolved with AI without property manager's time. And another cool stat is 80% of lease renewals are automated. Super cool, because AI will be proposing, hey, your lease is about to expire. Are you interested in extending your lease? It'll ask some questions. It will pre-fill the fields in the lease agreement template, and then it will submit a lease for renewal so that you don't have to do anything. You can just relax, have a little pina colada, and see your tenants renew the leases, submit or purchase renter's insurance, which is also streamlined. You have peace of mind that all your units are protected. All the tenants are paying renter's insurance, and you are in a great place. I think this is it that I have for a slide deck, but I do have a little bonus experience for you guys. So I want to walk you through a little bit of live environment that we got and really show you how we are streamlining application screening. I think it's a very interesting piece. We do understand that most of you guys are focusing, not having a streamlined solution how to do application screening. You're using on average 3 different tools. You have to have an application open just to see what kind of answers the person put in. Then you have to have some credit reports, background reports, eviction reports open on some separate screen. And then you have emails, phones, if you need to call them and ask for additional stuff, right? With Magic Door, we're streamlining all of that. So here's a good example. If we were to go into leases and rental applications, we'll go into all applications, and we're using a Hogwarts environment for demo purposes, so we don't reveal anybody's sensitive information. We have 3 applicants applying for the same unit. I can also filter them out by the units. I can filter out by properties, all that stuff, but I can see AI score right away. I don't need to be reading into everybody's application and to everybody's bank statements, seeing their reports to figure out who will be my best fit. Immediately, AI tells me, hey, Luna would be your best fit. She has an AI score of 85. Now, can I really trust this or can I not? Well, immediately you get a reason of why AI gave Luna 85 score. She has really good income to rent ratio. We do take into account all their reports, their credit reports have been processed, eviction reports being processed, as well as criminal background reports, all being processed and taken into the accounts. As well as we see what kind of units she is applying to. We can see all her information, where she rented before, as well as her documents, all in one place. It's been processed, making sure that her bank statements are correct, making sure all her social security numbers are great, everything looking good. From there, we can easily convert her to a lease. We can ignore or reject the applicant. But let's say I do need to request additional information from Luna. For example, additional bank statement. Typically, you would go and you would copy email, or you would call and say, hey, Luna, looks great, but I need additional bank statement. And then she would send it to you through email probably. You would have to copy that, download, and then edit to her files somehow. Well, with MagicDo, you simply go to Communications tab, you click email, text, both. You can say, hey, Luna, amazing application, would love to have you on, but we do need another bank statement, or we need a co-signer's information, anything you need. Luna will receive email and text. She does not have to download an app. This is the magic of that one phone number experience. She can just simply reply to the text, attach her PDF of additional bank statement, and it's going to be all synced right here immediately in the chat. You'll be able to see, view it, add it to your collection. The same way it works with the conversation in terms of language. Therefore, it becomes seamless to communicate with anyone who speaks, Mandarin or Spanish or anything else. So this is one of the examples of how AI really makes your life easier. It helps you identify who would be the best candidate. It really helps you to streamline all this information in one place. And with one click, you can convert them into the tenant, send them application, get them sign it, and you are good to go, saving yourself lots of time. This is where I'm gonna end my presentation. I will hang here for another minute or two to see if you have any other questions at the end. Happy to answer those.